Hi, my audience on Dominus Nisi. This is Bismi, our Mothers in May series. I'm so blessed to have a mother, a entrepreneur, a coach, and a mentor who is helping many different women in this area to find out their core and spread love, joy, and peace. And you know that that's my core and my theme for our show. And I welcome Samantha to our chat. Thank you and welcome to our show, Samantha.
Thank you so much, Bismi, for the opportunity. I'm very grateful to be on here chatting to you.
I'm not telling more about her, but I would connect with her closely because when you need something in a desperate mode, you will connect with somebody and then you will get a hands-on prayer that will, empower you. That's what you were maybe a couple of months ago, Samantha. So I really want you to share who you are, what you are doing, how you spreading your love and joy.
Oh, thank you so much for that. So who am I? I'm a mum. I've got two children. I work for The Light in Melbourne, and I also have a book publishing business and a coaching counseling business as well. So I wear a few hats among many things. And for me, it's all about stepping out there and having positive conversations to empower women. And I work with a lot of mums. So when you spoke about this series, I was like, oh, it's very dear to my heart for me to be able to share a little bit of my experience and my learnings over the journey of parenting, motherhood for almost 15 years now. My daughter is nearly 15. So
Mhm.
yeah, have a few tricks and experiences that I have learned along the journey. In
Yeah.
terms of love, peace, and joy, I think the biggest learning for me, I went through a season where it was really challenging. And at the end of that season, I became a single mom. So I am a single mom to two
Mhm.
children. And one of the greatest things that I learned at the back of that was by pressing into faith, what that meant for me and how I show up. So when I think
Mhm.
of peace, love, and joy, I think about how I can show up, not really worrying too much about how other people show up to me, because I
Mhm.
understand that when somebody says something or reacts to something, it could be a whole series of things that are playing out in their personal or professional life. But
Mhm.
how do I respond to that? And I could show love. I could offer to pray. I could just go, you know what? I'm here for you to vent. I'll just listen.
Mhm.
And so it's in that state of mind of going, I'm just going to show up and I'm going to love them, or I'm just going to be that pillar that just they can lean on. And to me, that's what love, peace, and joy means. So, yeah.
That's great. So I know that I love the people, term or the word I'm hearing about life, the season, because
Yeah.
if you think that I have only one life,
Mm-hmm.
they can't really come out of that life. But if you know that I have many seasons in my life, I will go to the next season and then be my best. So I understand how you were going through that seasons, and then now your season is to, light the people who are going through the darkness, and that's why you are with Light FM. And how we connected is more of like, your initiative in Light FM to connect the Christian entrepreneurs and then how they are spreading all these light in the community. So it was great to be partner with that group where you are starting the conversation with prayer and ending with that wonderful submission to our creator. So that was the, always I mention to my friends, that's the only place that I can get that type of conversation. So because I understand everyone got their own journey, but connecting that to that core creator and then putting the faith in that creator rather than giving that big reasoning or burden to ourselves. So it is always helping us to lighten the burden when we connect with that group. We, especially people hearing me experience the power of lighter from anywhere during the pandemic and now onwards. So I can understand how the behind the scene people of that great initiative is connected with prayer and then that closeness with the heart. So you mentioned a little bit about your single parenting. I really wanna, check again because this series is again helping the awareness of family violence. So there are many different reasons for violence happening in the family or an intimate relationship, especially like if it is father and mother and the children in the middle. We may need to take decision according to the need of the children sometimes rather than our own emotional need. So we need to put them first, or we need to take our mental health as a priority. So sometimes it because this is coming up as a generational disease, that's the word I always use. We think that we can't come out of it because that's how our parents did, that's how our grandparents did, that's the way to go. But to change that mindset and then break that cycle, you need some courage, you need some real motivation, or I would say real trauma. So there may be different things that you need that as an influencing factor to talk about it. So I would love to hear from you. How do you feel about the awareness about the family violence, and what's your core thoughts on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. I think currently this is something that needs to be addressed. It is happening far too regularly, and a lot of cases are going undetected because a lot of women are not recognizing what verbal abuse is, domestic violence is, and all the underpinning elements that
Mm,
are actually abuse in that family setting. So I think what you're doing, Bismi, to create awareness, to have conversations, are really provoking women to go, hang on, what is my home environment like? Am
mm,
I actually experiencing this? But I don't want to admit that I
mm,
am experiencing that, because a lot of people, through the years of me having various conversations in different environments, something that I have seen is, and it breaks my heart, hear my heart here, it breaks my heart when I hear women saying, I have nowhere to go, I don't have a bank account to my name,
mm,
everything my husband has provided, we have a great life, so I just have to work through this so that, my children will continue to have a great education, they will enjoy, good food, a comfortable home. Because if I left this man because he's yelling and screaming and, putting holes in the wall,
mm,
what would life look like? And at that point, it's like, it's better to not have 3 meals a day and have 1 meal a day than to live in that environment. But often, a lot of times,
mm,
people don't want to have those real, raw conversations because it's very confronting. So I think the first step is creating awareness that it is never okay. And the
mm,
second part is for us women to be able to step out and offer resources and support to women that are going through it.
mm.
And the power of prayer, yes, God can move. Absolutely. I've seen transformation over many people's lives in that space. That said, it's important for people to speak up. It's
Yeah,
so important because, we don't see what's happening within somebody's four walls.
yeah.
And I think that awareness that you are creating, we need to continue to push push that to the forefront. So we're having better conversations and we're able to offer resources as well. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. I can really resonate the account situation that you mentioned because being a mom in early stages 18 years ago, I was thinking and a husband looking after all the finance and no account connected to me. It's a safe place because I don't need to worry about it. Because as you mentioned, I'm getting food, I'm getting things that I need, but I didn't know what whether that is a part of the controlling or that is more of like, lack of trust or finding out the skills and acknowledging that our skills. All those things came up when we need different things and then realize, okay, these are the part of, you know, controlling people. So recently when I was connecting and talking with one of the girls, so she's very happy that her husband got her a car that can monitor. And then she was telling, I'm so safe that he knows where I am, he knows what I'm doing. And I said, no, you need to think about it. What is the real reason behind it? Because it's all like, covered up with the love, but what's the real reason behind it? I think that's where we need the education. So everything is coming with that, that honey coated, whatever that bitter chocolate thing. So they need to really understand what exactly coming with that offer from the partner. So that's a real good thing that we're doing to educate. How do I say no? Mm,
Absolutely. I think you're spot on there. To be able to recognize, is it love or is it
mm,
control? Is it love or is it narcissistic behavior?
yeah.
And this is where we need to be having conversations. We need to be normalizing this topic of domestic violence. If we don't
Mm,
normalize it, we can't address it because there's so much shame and there's
mm,
so much trauma, right? In with the coaching counseling work that I do, I see so many individuals that have experienced trauma 10, 15, 20 years ago, and it's now playing out in their new relationship. So they haven't
mm,
really moved on because they've not addressed. Yes, they got out of that, but you've not addressed the issues, and now you're always second guessing yourself. You're like, what if this and what if that? It's like, let's work on building yourself up, because we are our best selves when we are invested into ourselves, right? We can't be anything to anybody else if we are not our best selves. So I think absolutely we need to be having real conversations, putting everything on the table, and being
mm.
able to support one another. I think that's important to not just have the conversations and leave it as a hot topic. So yeah.
Right. I'm actually connecting that conversation to my next question because it's a motherhood series, and you were talking about many different things that you're doing in your space. How do you juggle between motherhood and these different hats? And what's your, I would pick up top three rules to, keep peace within you.
Yes, Bismi, you're right. I do wear a few hats. One of the big things that enables me to wear many hats and still be a very hands-on mom to both my children
Mm,
is I'm really good with boundaries, and I'm
mm,
really good at saying no. And I'm really good at not being on my phone all the time.
mm,
So to kind of backtrack that a little bit is I have time slots for
mhm,
everything. So
mhm,
in my professional life, whether that is my coaching counseling clients, my role at the Light, my publishing business, whatever that allocation is, I have time slots,
mhm,
and I show up and serve in those time slots only. The
mhm,
time slots that I have every evening with my family, so I can cook a meal, sit down with my two children, chat. Sometimes midweek, we might even watch half a movie just because we can.
mhm,
And that is all because I don't check my phone. I don't
mhm,
respond to messages and emails. It's like, well, that can wait. I always have this funny little saying. And if your audience has doctors or nurses, they might not agree with this one, but I always say I'm a business person and I'm a mom. I don't run the emergency department at a hospital. So the emails and the phone calls can wait. Nothing's going to change if I don't respond in 3 hours. Like,
yeah.
obviously, if I was a doctor or a nurse, it would have been a different story, but I can't relate to that. I can relate to only this life. So I'm very big on honoring those time spaces. Like on a Saturday morning, I'm only in that headspace of being a mom. My son plays soccer. We
Mm-hmm.
have games in the morning. We might get, we might have something to eat on the road or breakfast at home. But in that time zone, I'm not responding to anything because
Mm-hmm.
I'm fully present to that moment, creating memories with him, having chats, all of that. Right. And I think over the years, that has enabled me to still be a fully present mom
Mm-hmm.
in the times that I don't get big chunks because they do visit their dad and stepmom. They spend solid time every week with their dad and stepmom. But in the time that I have them over those, 4 to 5 days, it's really important that I'm invested into that. So, yeah, so I would say boundaries, limit your phone consumption, and being able to say no. That's so important. No is a full sentence. So, yeah.
That's a big learning, Samantha, to say no, because, and especially maybe from Asian people can't, it's so hard to learn to say no. I think that, yeah, that's the main issue with women, I believe. So they need to learn how to say no.
Absolutely. And something that I often say is we have this habit where we have to explain ourselves. I don't know whether you've ever experienced it. And look, if you ever spoke to my mom, she would say to you, Samantha sometimes just politely declines something with no explanation given. And it's because I'm not going to get into a conversation to explain to you why I can't come on a Saturday afternoon.
Hmm.
It's like, thanks, mom. I'll see you on Sunday after church.
Hmm.
That's it. I don't need to go into the whole because I've done A, B, and C, and then I need this. No, no, no. I can't make it on Saturday afternoon, mom, but I will see you on Sunday after church. Let me know if
Hmm.
that works. We're
Yeah.
done there. We're not going to get into a conversation for 5 minutes when it's a 30-second text or a 30-second phone call.
Hmm.
And this is where it's not about ego, Bismi. For me, it's not about ego. It's about self-care for me.
Hmm.
Because if I spread myself too thin and I'm running around like an Uber driver, going here, there, and everywhere, trying to cook, trying to clean, there's laundry to be done, a house to be cleaned, toilets to be cleaned. It's the
Yeah.
real, it's the real things that I have to do in my day-to-day life, right?
Yes.
It has to be done. And I just think it's important to be able to pace myself so I can do everything to my best um, capabilities, right? But if
Hmm.
I'm running around, I'm going to do a sloppy job at everything.
Yeah.
So I think this is where over the years, and look, I wouldn't say that I've known this in the entire 15 years of being a mother. It's
Hmm.
probably once I became a single mom, I had to take a good hard look at myself,
Hmm.
address my own trauma and
Yes.
my own victim mentalities, my little sad stories that I wanted to
Mhm.
tell myself. Work with a professional. At that time when I was going through a lot, I had a therapist, I had a life coach. I was invested into
Mm.
doing something for myself because I didn't want that narrative to play out for the
Yeah.
rest of my life. So it was not a quick fix.
Yeah.
It took about 12 to 18 months for me to really understand my own behaviors and patterns and come out of that.
Mm.
And then another, year to probably 18 months for me to start learning how to implement boundaries, how to have better conversations, how to really protect myself and still live a really peaceful life where I create
Mm.
beautiful memories with my children. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a great journey, Sam. I would really say that well done because it's a great self-discovery and then finding out your own places where you need to make modification. It's not like saying, oh, I'm a failure, I can't do it, but it's like overpower that steps that we failed and then empowering others who is going through that step so that you can tell them, look, you can't do this because you need to come over. So it's like if you have that thorough experience going through the path, it's so easy and I would say great way to help others. And Samantha, when you share your your story or the way that connecting people, and especially I would say very minimum lines of emails that I can clearly see in all the conversations is a reflection what you have done through with your life, because you respect your time, at the same time you respect the other people's time, because everyone got 24 hours, not more or less. So
Correct.
I would really like, comment that you are not like, just um, preaching. You are practicing it. That's what I can see as a mother or as a coach, and even as a mentor for us in this positive women entrepreneur group. So that's a great leadership that you're doing, Samantha. I'm really looking forward to have our coffee catch up end of this month. And I allow those three rules. I still need to say, need to learn or practice more no's in my life. I'm still going through that process, but that's really inspiring to hear that, a person who already practiced and then experiencing that piece. So thank you for that. So I just want to touch with you again. So you mentioned about coaching and the positive media. So for to clarify my listeners, can you explain how we can reach out to you if I feel like, oh, I have a similar life, but I want to come out and be like Samantha. So how can you help us in that coaching world, or how can I reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Bismi. Yeah, so I'm across LinkedIn and Facebook. So the best way
Mm.
probably is LinkedIn or Facebook to reach out to me, Samantha Jansen. You'll find me wearing a green dress. The image is consistent across all my channels.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and for me, with the coaching work that I do, it's all about awakening the individual to look within. I
Mm.
always say, I am just a facilitator. Now, I know the word just has a negative connotation, but I use that intentionally because I always say it's important for one to recognize the strength within and
Mm.
not depend on the coach to lead you. They facilitate, they give you prompters, they help you to go, oh, yeah, okay, start thinking, but I'm
Mm.
not the one doing the work. And this is why I say it's important to, yeah, have that awareness. So, yeah, I offer a few different coaching programs. And then with what I'm doing at Positive Media, it's all about championing women in business through three key pillars. So, we talk about transformation, growth, and connection. Those
Mm.
three key elements are actually quite deeply personal to me, and it ties in really well with positive media because positive media is big on looking at the transformational piece about
Mm.
what they do through their conversations on air, right across all the conversations, I would say. And for me, when I'm talking to business women, it is very much about how are we building connection, how
Mhm.
are you journeying to transform? Because when you transform, your business grows, your
Mm.
professional life grows, whatever you're doing in your career, you start excelling at. So yeah, happy to connect with anyone that has any questions for me.
Yeah,
So yeah.
sure. I will be putting up your LinkedIn connection after, below this video. I want to check with you one more thing that you mentioned about publishing book. What is that? And can we publish book with you?
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, so I have been running a book publishing business for almost 8.5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I help aspiring authors to publish books. So if they are looking to write a book, I coach them through the writing process. If they've already got a book idea that they've written bits and pieces or a beautiful poetry book or something like that, I would be able to guide them and help them self-publish it. So yeah.
That's great. So lots of things that we will get help from you if I connect with you. That's great to know. So this is going to my last question for the series. We always grab from every mother's. What is a message that you can share to my audience to spread love, joy, and peace?
Absolutely. I think that's a big question, but I'm going to give you a few elements to that if that's okay with me. I
Mm-hmm.
think the first one is motherhood is not an easy journey, right? There are so many bumps and challenges
Mm-hmm.
mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and often we see the outside and not the
Mm-hmm.
inside. So if I can encourage mums through this conversation is ask yourself, what do you need right now?
Mm-hmm.
And is that you need to put some boundaries in place so that you can care for yourself, so that you can enjoy that cup of coffee every morning, or you can have quiet prayer time every morning, or you can enjoy that half an hour walk every morning. So I would say to all the mums listening, prioritize yourself and
Mm-hmm.
get comfortable to put boundaries, because those boundaries might look a little bit uncomfortable in the first few weeks. Trust me, there will be. You'll be like, oh, I don't know about what Samantha's talking about. She's telling me to say no. That's just crazy talk. But trust me, you will come to love it in 6 to 7 weeks when you start saying no, beautifully rejecting them, obviously, but prioritizing yourself and
Mm-hmm.
having those boundaries will just change the atmosphere. And over the years, by doing that, that is where I have found peace. I
Mm-hmm.
have found joy for myself, because if I'm at peace and I'm joyful, guess what? When I show up in front of you, I'm able to embody peace, love, and joy. Right. So I think I would say, in summary, Bismi, to your audience, prioritize yourself. So important. And
Mm-hmm.
then put those boundaries in, get uncomfortable till you get comfortable, and you will reap the rewards mentally and also spiritually. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great message because prioritization motherhood needs like a you need something in in your visible area that say number one, two, and three, and then tick it off. That's how at least you take that brain into that paper and then do that prioritize. And thank you for that. And it was a great conversation with you, Sam, and your energy. I can feel that peace coming from you when I talk with you, and then clearly you are spreading that people around you, and all your people that you're helping through your different programs. So I wish you a great Mother's Day this year, and then have a time that quality time with no other disturbances with your two kids, and get pampered with their love. And I'm sure that they will love you abundantly because the way that you're putting them first and then prioritizing them, and give everything that you can to them is a great way that you show that they have the preference in your life, and they must be the reason why you spreading love, joy, and peace. And I wish all the great wishes on this Mother's Day. And at the same time, I pray for you, Samantha, because we need people who, connect with the people through the prayer. So I totally believe in spirituality, but if you claim that in prayer, in that group, that's where that energy flows in through our Creator. So thank you.
amazing. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And as you said beautifully, I'm wishing your community a very blessed, safe, love-filled Mother's Day, and know that you are loved. Um, and there are people around you that would walk with you. You just got to take that first step and step out there. Grab somebody's hand, have a coffee, and yeah, enjoy the company of other women that want to champion you and love you. So yeah,
Thank you. So I'll catch up for coffee, Samantha. My
sounds
listeners, if you would love to have catch up with us, connect with us directly, or we will be sharing that through the Facebook. And this is Dominus Nisi spreading love, joy, and peace.